Okay, guys, welcome to the BTEC National Extended Certificate in Creative Digital Media Production sort of taster session that I'm going to provide for you today over the next half hour. So yeah, it's quite a mouthful, that course title, very different to obviously just media A-level. So firstly, really what I want to emphasize with that course title is specifically the last four words, the creative digital media production, because if we look at BTEC in comparison or contrast to an A-level, what definitely separates these two courses, although they both have media in the title, A-level is more theoretical, it's more analytical, where you look at texts and you kind of discuss, representations, the context that shapes those media texts, and also the effects or messages they could have on society. So yeah, it's very more kind of academic in that respect. But at BTEC, it's more about the creating of digital media products. So it's a lot more of a practical course in difference to A-level. And I'll talk you through what the course entails now. So yeah, it's the exam board is edexcel/Pearson. This is a 2-year course. And over the course of 2 years, we cover 4 units. 2 of those are coursework units and 2 of those are exam units. So typically the way that a year would look in BTEC is we do 1 coursework unit in 1 year and 1 exam in 1 year, and then we kind of copy and paste that structure into year 2, which is a lot more easy for you to go through. Rather than giving you 2 exams in 1 year, we kind of split that up across the duration of 2. This is a 4 lessons a week course, and in terms of what is the equivalent, this is the equivalent to 1 full A-level. So the entry requirements for the BTEC National Extended Certificate in Creative Digital Media Production is that you need 5 GCSEs at grade 4. And as it says there, and a passion for filmmaking, which I'll go over a little bit more what I mean by that as we go through this PowerPoint. So yeah, with this course, as I say, the clue is in the title, Creative Digital Media Production. You are making media products. And as I say, the big difference with this and A-level is A-level, you study the media products. BTEC, we're more about skilling you up with the knowledge of how you would make media products if you were to go into the industry. So yeah, at this course, we do provide, at this course and this college, sorry, we do provide HD cameras. We have studio equipment in terms of lighting. And we also use very industry standard editing suites, such as the Adobe Premiere Pro editing suite. And, as the course develops over the last couple of years, we have been getting, a lot more interesting bits of kit in. Just this year we got a gimbal, which is a very smart bit of sort of a stabilizing tripod that you can walk around with and kind of create real smooth tracking shots. All right. Okay, so what is BTEC, or what is a BTEC? So there used to be this old rumor that BTEC was just all coursework, but obviously that has changed now, as you know from the previous slide. This is a course which is very much 50% exams and 50% coursework. And it is a largely vocational / practical subject. As I said previously, this is not indifferent to A-level. This isn't about sort of analyzing media. This is about practically making media, which obviously comes with a whole new different set of skills that you don't necessarily cover in an A-level. And BTEC courses are developed in collaboration with employers from the media sector. So when they created this BTEC qualification that I deliver, and hopefully you guys would like to study, there has been discussions with media companies like the BBFC, ITV, certain production studios, where the exam board and the employees have kind of honed in on what are the key skills anyone would need to get a foot into, BBC Centre. What are the core skills required to make media products? So as the PowerPoint says, this course provides learners with the essential knowledge, understanding, skills, and attributions required in the creative media sector, or in higher education in the same subject. So there's a number of courses now at university that's more about making media products, because these skills are becoming more and more essential. Every company will have a social media presence, and thus every company kind of needs somebody to employ to help make their adverts and create just digital media content. So just to emphasize that, what I'd like to do is show you a short video. This is available on YouTube, and I can share the link at some point with you if you want. Although if you just go on YouTube and search WQE College, you will find this video. So bear with me while I just get this video sharing. Here we go. Okay, so this is just a brief show reel that shows you the kind of things that we make in BTEC Media at WQE College. So I'll just play this. It's only 2 minutes and hopefully give you some type of a taste of the work that you do in this course. And all the work that you see during this 2 minutes is past student works in BTEC Creative Media Production. Okay, so let me just get that PowerPoint back up and we'll carry on. All right then, so hopefully you get an understanding now of the kind of things that we create, that we do in BTEC Media at WQE College. But I'm going to go through it anyway over the next couple of slides. But you saw a variety of media productions there. We kind of make adverts. You may have seen The Magician, and that was a client that came into the college who asked my students, the QE students, sorry, to create an advert for his service so that he could put it on his website and put it on his social media platforms. So there's one example of a type of media production we do, which is adverts, and sometimes we will pull in clients. It's a little bit of work experience, but you get that experience of obviously having a client that you have to obviously meet their needs and help them flourish in their business. But we also had music videos, we have short films, there's even some little documentaries that past students have made, all very much, again, to emphasize the point, kind of filmmaking, practical, and kind of doing rather than writing essays about these things. You are picking up cameras and making these things. So let's go through each of those 4 units and give you a real kind of good understanding of what it is we do throughout those 2 years. So one of the exam units is called media representations, and this is probably the closest that the BTEC comes to in terms of similarities to an A level. This is very much where we analyze media representations, and you will obviously have to sit a 2-hour exam answering questions about said things. So what we do is we look at a number of different types of media, not just films or TV, but we look at in fact, if I press next on the slide, we should get an example. There we go. So yeah, we look at a number of different media representations and how the media has constructed these representations and what meanings or messages these representations communicate and create for audiences. And in the exam, you will respond to an unseen text. So past examples have been short adverts, about a particular men's grooming product, and then the question could ask you, how has the advert represented men and what messages does it communicate about this particular group in society? And this exam, if we start the course in September, then we have an opportunity to sit an exam in January, or we wait till the summer period and do it in May, June. And that's the same for both the exam units. But yeah, as you can see from the images, we look at adverts, and obviously we consider context. So this advert that you're looking at right now that said Tide has got what women want. This is an advert from the 1950s to do with a washing detergent. And as you can see, if that was an advert produced today, that would be incredibly problematic. That's quite offensive to assume that a woman's role is to be the person who's tidying and cleaning her husband's clothes. But that's why it's important to understand, what was happening at the time that this particular Tide advert was made, and we can learn about attitudes at the time as well. And obviously by comparing this Tide advert to maybe one produced today, we can see how far we've come in terms of sort of representations and particular messages that get communicated about groups in society. A good example being obviously Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman, how, from the 1950s Tide advert to 2018, we now have these very empowering representations of women. And to link it into context, that's typically to do with, that Me Too movement that happened not long ago, that we start to see history reflected in media, and media responds to what's happening around it. We also look at representations of actual individuals, like real people. And this is a bit of an old example now, considering it's 2017, but it's always a good starting point that I use in lesson to show you how the Sun represented Jeremy Corbyn. And obviously it is represented him as literally trash. He's in the bin. They've managed to snap a photo of him mid-speech, so he looks a little bit idiotic. And then when you look at the corner of the newspaper, it says vote Tory. So there's a clear agenda about why they're representing Corbyn in this particular way. There's an agenda at play by the Sun. There's something they want the audience to accept or believe in, as the Sun does. We look at representations of ethnicity and different races as well. And I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the TV show on Netflix called Top Boy, but Top Boy takes place in kind of these very poor areas of London as well. So not only are we looking at gender or people or race and ethnicity, we also look at how a place can be represented. I for one have never been to somewhere like New York, but I would love to go to New York because of how I see it being represented in the media, that New York always looks like this really busy, vibrant, metropolitan kind of energetic city. That's just how the media represents it, but it has this effect on me where I actually want to go to New York and experience that kind of buzzing city as it's shown in films and TV that I watch. Eighth Grade is a teen film, and we look at, obviously with that, we're looking at representations of age, not just teenagers or young age, but we also look at sort of how the elderly may be represented as well in certain media text. And hopefully what you're seeing here as well is there's a variety of media that we study, from a Tide advert to a film, to a newspaper, to a TV show. We even look at video games. So something like Street Fighter is a popular one that I tend to cover with my class, just because it looks at nationality and gender and a number of different groups. We look at magazines, and We also look at sexuality as well. So, you know, if anyone's seen the film Moonlight, it's about a young lad who is struggling with coming out, and the kind of the abuse that he receives as he's a young child coming out as a homosexual. So we look at how that film is kind of tackling that issue of sexuality and the kind of how it represents it on the screen and the messages it communicates. But yeah, so this is the one unit. You know, if there's 4 units on a course, 25% of this course has this kind of A-level style learning to it, which is Unit 1, Media Representations. And then Unit 4 is coursework. This is pre-production portfolio. So the emphasis on this particular coursework is planning. You know, whenever any film or TV show or magazine or newspaper gets produced, it goes through a phase of pre-production where the producers will consider how they want that to look. So this is, again, going back to that first slide, an essential skill that media companies or careers would expect you to have some knowledge of. So, you know, I teach all about storyboarding, screenplay writing, how you would cast certain actors, why you may need to consider costumes or props in kind of meaningful way, but also more logistical side to planning as well, such as, you know, if you only have a certain amount of money, you're going to need to budget that so you don't overspend. And that you have enough money to spend on the items you need or the equipment you need, but it's also about time management as well. So that's you know, kind of the stepping stones, if you will, into kind of the creative, practical media production, where before I even give you a camera, I want you to think about what it is you want to make. And you've got some examples there on the slide there of a film called No Country for Old Men, where you can see at the bottom the storyboard, the visualization, the plan for the film, and then above it the actual finished product. So yeah, when we this is something you do in the first year, and what we do is I teach and you guys learn pre-production through creating a music video, and it's usually the stepping stone for all for creative media production. You know, it'll be the first thing I ask you to make is a music video, because they can be quite experimental and you can be really creative with that. So you'll pick a song, you'll look into its genre, and then you're going to plan how you're going to shoot a music video to accompany that song. So it could be that you're listening to the lyrics, and you know the lyrics are telling you a story, and that might encourage you to think about how you're going to tell that story. Or it might be a dance song where the pace of the song, the beats per minute, are really quite fast, and then that might encourage you to think about you know, what you want to accompany that kind of fast pace. So it usually comes down to music videos tend to be, you know, either a story, or they cover a concept, or they have a performance. So this year alone, I've had a number of students producing performance-based music videos where they're lip syncing, you know, they're pretending to be the artist that is Ariana Grande or Billie Eilish. I've had a number of students kind of making music videos to those particular artists, and the lip syncing's on point. You know, if I didn't know who Billie Eilish or Ariana Grande was, I would have probably thought it was those students themselves, because it was so effective at how they did it. So yeah, I might come back to this slide at another point, because there is an example of a past student video that I'm really quite fond of, and I usually show it in lesson, but we'll just see how we get on with time, because I'm aware I want to go through some Q&As as well. Okay, so Unit A is responding to a commission. This is the second exam, and we tend to do this in the second year. And this exam is very industry kind of career based. Whereas if you worked for, say, ITV, what would happen is a client would come to you with a commission, and then you as an employer for ITV have to, as the unit is called, respond to the commission. So this is the idea that, you know, you have to think on your feet. This is a 6-hour exam that's spread across 2 days, and what you get is 2 weeks before that exam, you get the commission. So previous commissions have included that you would create a 30-second advert that raises awareness of online identity theft, or create the opening to a documentary that explores the effects of social media on young people. And then what you do in that 2 weeks and then that 6-hour exam is you plan a way in which you would make that type of media product, and you show in the exam precisely what it is you would make. You respond to the commission. Okay, and then the final unit out of the four is called Unit 10, Film Production, and really a big emphasis there. This is film production where you're working in fiction. So we're not making documentaries for this particular unit. We are telling stories, and we're using filmmaking in sort of practical, purposeful, and meaningful ways. So this unit is all about making a short narrative film. And I tend to save this till the second year. This is our kind of final major project where, you take all that learning you've done across the whole course and you kind of put it all into this last film. So you need to understand concepts about genre. You need to understand how narratives get constructed in film. And there's this thing we call stylistic codes. And this is camera work, mise en scène, which is costumes, props, settings, sound, and editing. And you need to think about making a film in a particular genre. You need to consider how you're going to tell your story, and you need to be really creative with stylistic codes. So, not just pointing a camera and action and things happen within it, maybe considering use of close-ups, moving the camera, maybe hearing certain sounds or editing it in certain ways. And before we even get to the making of your own short films, we do tend to look at some examples and do some classwork on them. Previous examples have included what you see on the slide right now, an early 90s film called Misery, and Get Out, which is quite a recent film, I believe 2018 that one was, or maybe earlier. But this year we've looked at a film called Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and we've compared that to a film called Chronicle, two teen films, but very different in how they use camera work, mise en scène, and editing. So that's Unit 10. So that's kind of the course in a nutshell. I mean, before I look at the questions, as I said, the thing I really want to emphasize about BTEC media production is this is a course for someone who would like to make films, who would like to learn how to use an edit suite, who would like to, if you're somebody who regularly maybe even uses something like TikTok or Instagram, if you're always putting content out there and you're kind of editing things and you're being creative, then this may be the course for you. If you may be quite shy and you're not interested in making a film, then maybe the A level is more of a media course that might be more up your street. So let's just have a quick look then at the questions. Okay. Okay. Obviously, like I say, if you do have questions, please do type them into the Q&A box. I'm happy to answer those. Or if you want to email the college, obviously those questions will get to me. But that was a really good time, obviously, because I'm here live as as I'm presenting this. And yes, if you have made short films, or if you've made music videos, or even something as straightforward as like just a TikTok video, then I do encourage you to consider this course and think about making films. Complements nice with film studies as well, because film studies is obviously about studying film, and BTEC media is about creating film. So those kind of courses do complement each other quite nicely. And I have a number of students that are in that similar situation of studying film and then BTEC media additionally on the side. Okay, so we have a second question here. For the projects, would you be picked to act or direct in the film? So that's from Amina. Okay, let me answer live. Would you be picked to act or direct in the film? So there's that unit 4, pre-production portfolio, and what that particular unit is all about is pretty much you being a project manager to that extent. So you can be in the film if you wanted to be, but you are then going to have to obviously help somebody with the camera and tell them what you want the camera to be doing. So yeah, you don't have to be in your film, but what you do need to be is in control of the film production by directing your person behind the camera, or being the person behind the camera and directing the people, your actors in front of it. I tend to do a lot of the assignments do tend to be quite individual, but then obviously the class will help each other out as well. So I hope that answers your question. So would you be picked to act or direct in the film? It mostly would come down to you, Amina, and if you wanted to be in your film, you could be, or if you didn't want to be, you can step back and be behind the camera and direct your actors. So yeah, if you're shy, camera shy, don't worry, you're not expected to be on camera. Okay, is there any other questions? And one thing to note as well about the BTEC course, next year we are going to be in a whole brand new building as well, just in the J block. So I don't know if you have had the if you have been to QE grounds and had a look around, you may notice the big art building, and that's where media is going to be situated next year, with brand new computers, brand new desks. I think we're going to have desks where the computers are inside the desk and you press a button and they come up. So, you know, we'll be able to kind of do bits and bobs of theory, mix and matching that with the actual practical editing. What is the pass rate? I believe there's a big banner outside the college, actually, 99% pass rate. I don't know where the 1% is, because that could be a mixture of the A level and the BTEC results. But even so, 99% is very healthy looking. Yeah, so there's very few times when students have not passed this course by the end of the 2 years. We try to make sure that doesn't happen. And I think where that 1% is missing is probably when students have changed course or college midway through. All right, guys, so I believe we're at the end there now. Like I say, if you do have any questions, please do ping them over, send an email. You know, do consider this course if, as the slide says, you have a passion for filmmaking. If making something and being really creative is something you're interested in, then this is probably the course that could kind of, you know, talk to that creativity within you. But it is a very practical, creative course. It's all about filmmaking, picking up cameras and making media.